Welcome to another Faith Fridays. I didn't really have an intro joke, so I'll just play you some lines from my song I'm making about calculus because I'm really struggling. Come to graduation and you will find I'm glad to leave calculus behind. Calculus is killing me, I really miss geometry. So this week, instead of teaching something, I just wanted to share a quick story, quick testimony about something that happened to me. And I've really realized these past few weeks that God wants you to share this, so that's what I'm gonna do. So basically last year I had this huge revelation that prayer is like a muscle. I was confused that I wasn't hearing God, so I wouldn't pray. I realized prayer was like a muscle, and so I started praying more and more and more. And there I started hearing God for the first time, but I still longed to encounter him because I would hear him, I would hear advice, but I wanted to hear him like the saints. I wanted to see him like the saints. I wanted to feel him and not just go into prayer and just feel nothing. But I knew that if I persisted, I would get there. So I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I just grew in this love for God. One day I was just really frustrated and I said, God, why is this not happening? And he said, Patrick, your time will come. And then, soon enough, an invitation to a camp popped into my life. I signed up. I got accepted. I was so excited. It was for teens advanced in their faith, right? And so I go there, and I just knew. I had been looking for the opportunity to give my life to God, and this was the time I was going to be able to give my life to God. This was going to be it. This was going to be the time I experienced Him. So, this experience happened, and I wrote about it. I just want to read the first line that I wrote about it. I said, this is the first line. Today is the day I've been waiting for my whole life. How it goes is, so it was only the first day camp, and I was just really soaking everything in. These people were teaching me tons of things about different blockages between us and God, and I'd been praying for Mary to knock them down. So I did that, and they told me these things that I realized had been in the way of God, especially self-loathing, taking fault for everything that I did and not giving it to God. And so we go to Mass, and I was able to take all those things and give it to God. And, a lot of other barriers and just give them to God. And then I don't know why, but something stirred in my heart and I knew this was going to be it. So I made my consecration to God. I'd been waiting. I just knew I had to make my consecration in that moment. And after this happened, I just felt an amazing feeling of freedom, and I knew this was the moment that I could consecrate my life to God. I had told God, I'll do your will. I want you to guide me before, but I was never able to meet it with my heart. But now all the barriers were knocked down. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt like I could do it now. And so I go and I say my consecration, just words flowing from the heart, praising God, thanking Him for me being able to experience Him and just loving Him, looking at the tabernacle, realizing He's really there and He loves me. I'm just saying this beautiful thing, I dedicate my entire life to you. I love you. And right after that, I hear the devil start speaking. He says, really? Do you really want to do this? You're going to go through tremendous suffering. You're going to go through pain. People aren't going to like you. You're going to be rejected. No one's going to realize what you're actually doing. Your work's going to be hidden. You're going to be mocked. All sorts of things, all sorts of fears. But the biggest one was you're going to feel pain. And I said, if that's what's going to bring souls to God, then start the pain right away. I accept it. And after that was the most joyous moment of my entire life. Without a doubt, I say it was the best moment of my entire life. It was so amazing. I was filled with such joy and peace and love. I felt so much love. I couldn't even describe it. It was lunchtime and just leaving to go to lunch. I was so sad just because I wasn't in that chapel with Jesus. But the devil, in his promise with pain, he started soon after that afternoon. The story continues. So I'm sitting shortly after lunch, or I don't know when, and I start feeling these terrible, terrible stomach pains, really bad. And that's one of my worst fears, of throwing up. But these were just brutal stomach pains. And so I'm going with a friend, and we're walking, and like at this point the entire day I just spent like side by side with Jesus. Like we were just talking back and forth. I was listening to the speakers. I would talk to Jesus like he was 1 foot away from me, like he was my best friend. Like, and we would talk back and forth. It was just amazing. Like he was revealed to me and actually there. And so I'm walking with this friend to go check out a church, and I'm like in so much pain. And so I didn't realize why it was happening. I was like, God, like, you're right there. You've been my friend. Like, why is this happening? Just take it away, right? Just please take it away. I don't know why I don't understand. And so it started going away. And then something hit me, and I was like, wait, this is what I signed up for. Like, this is what I asked for. I told the devil to bring on the pain if it brought souls to God. And I was like, heck no, God, don't take that away. My bad. I kept praying, bring me more, bring me more. And actually, it started coming back more and more intensely. And it, like, the entire afternoon builds up and builds up and builds up. And I get to dinner, and I just barely eat, and it keeps building and getting worse. And eventually we get to sit in, like, a seminar, like, classroom. And I'm just in a t-shirt. It's the summer, but I'm sitting in my chair, and I'm trembling uncontrollably out of pain, and the only comfort I have is hugging my backpack to comfort my stomach, and there's just so much pain, but I keep offering it up to God, and it's just so intense, and it's just getting worse. And so they started with like a 40-minute testimony. Though one of the people gave their testimony, I was like, great, now I can go to the bathroom and then another person came up. Another 40-minute testimony, and then a 20-minute, and then a 20-minute, and just every single moment, I didn't know if I could make it to the next talk, and like, I don't know how it was possible, and people around me were telling me, like, you can go, and I just knew, I felt called, I had to be there, I had to listen to this was so important. But as I sat there trembling in so much pain, like right after it ended, they said, okay, you have 20 minutes to write your testimony, meet us in adoration in 20 minutes. So I go as fast as I can down to the bathroom, and I can't get up for 30 minutes. Just the pain is so bad, and I'm so weak. And by the time I finally like get enough energy to get up and leave, and the pain is still there, I'm 10 minutes late. So I'm walking towards adoration. It's in another building. And on my way 10 minutes late to adoration, I meet a counselor, actually. I meet a counselor, and I told her about the story. Like, you know what? I feel really sick right now. I'm like cold. I think I'm just going to go grab my jacket from the dorms. And she said, yeah, go ahead, do it. Just go grab a jacket. And, you know, if you're sick and you don't feel good, just, it's okay if you're sick. Like, we get it, adoration's important. But, like, it's okay. You can miss out. Just tell one of us. And I knew in my mind, if I was going to go grab my jacket, that was my way of convincing myself. If I grabbed my jacket, I was going to collapse in bed. I wasn't going to come to adoration. So so I turned towards the dorms, like, I'm going to grab my jacket. I'm just going to stay there in my room. I'm going to ignore adoration. And the moment I turn towards the dorms, a phrase pops into my head from what I did Lectio, which is prayer over the Bible earlier. And I hadn't chosen the passage, and it said, do not worry for what you are to wear. God will provide. And my jaw dropped, and I turned around and started walking towards adoration. And we get there, and this is a funny story. I get there, and the door's locked, and I pull on it, and there's a card. You need to swipe a card. And I have a card, but it doesn't activate that door. It's like, okay, God, you're real tight with me. Time for a miracle to happen. I swipe my card, and nothing happens. But right after that, 2 girls come around the corner, and we start talking, and they realize it was locked. And then they had the idea, let's go the back way. And so we go the back way, and the only reason the back way is unlocked is because the day before, they had set the fire alarm off for the incense, so they had to leave it unlocked. If that hadn't happened, they wouldn't have left it unlocked. So I was able to go into adoration because I realized that if I allowed the pain that God gave me to take me away from him, I was defeating the entire purpose. And so I go to adoration, and all the benches, all the pews are filled. And so I just sit curled up against the pillar, just staring at Jesus. And this pain just keeps getting worse and worse and more intense and more intense. And I'm trembling and shaking more and more. And the more pain that there is, the more love I have for God. Like, for the first time in my life, a song of adoration, just like a praise, just came from my lips to God. And I was able to give him a pure praise. Just the more the pain, the more I felt the love. And the more I felt the closeness to him. It was so beautiful. And my pain was getting worse and worse. And I was loving more and more. And I was crying and I was shaking. And then at the peak of my pain, all of a sudden, because I had been like this, I saw Jesus, I understood him, I saw him, I felt him, and like that, all of a sudden, there was no good feeling. There was no love. I didn't feel any of it. And I heard Satan start speaking to me. Really? You believe this? You're talking to a piece of bread. It's just a piece of bread. You're talking to nothing. And I was like, oh man, devil just spoke to me. What do I do? And from within me, usually, I don't know. When I say from within me, I usually mean the Holy Spirit probably guided me because it wasn't of me. And I said the words, you know what, Satan? I really pity you because you made one decision and now you're the most miserable being for all time. And the moment I finished that phrase, all the pain left and I felt at peace. Man, it was just beautiful. That's the experience. And then next day I realized all my self-loathing was gone. And that's something I struggled with a lot, actually. So it was amazing. Wow, it was crazy. I'm really glad for that experience. But yeah, I mean, of course, I suffered later. Self-loathing came back, but it was just a period of grace where I encountered Christ. I was able to love him in the Eucharist, through Catholicism, through what I've been taught. So my advice to you is pray to Mary to knock down your walls. Don't be afraid where God guides you because he wants you, and you too can have crazy experiences. Thank you. Have a good Friday. Okay, this is it. Come to graduation and you will find I'm glad to leave calculus be fine. Be fine? Yeah.